The city skyline outside my apartment windows glittered like 1,000 tiny promises, each one beautiful, each one dangerous. I was still in my silk blouse from work, heels kicked off carelessly by the door, nursing an iced coffee I didn't really need at 9 p.m. The day had been long, but the night suddenly stretched before me like a quiet companion. That's when my phone buzzed. A notification, voice memo from Ryan. I smiled at first. My fiancé had this habit of sending me sweet little recordings when he was driving home, his voice softer, warmer when he wasn't distracted by a screen. I pressed play without thinking, curling my legs beneath me on the velvet couch. But this wasn't for me. The words tumbled out too raw, too unguarded. I don't know what to do, Jess. I love Natalie, but I can't lie. A part of me still loves Claire. I never stopped. The ice in my glass clinked as my hand froze midair. My heart thudded, but not in that cinematic, dramatic way I'd always imagined heartbreak would feel. No, this was quieter, sharper, like glass cracking in slow motion. I let the recording play to the end, his sigh heavy, his voice breaking, and in the silence that followed, my own breath caught. The city lights blurred through the sting in my eyes. So, I whispered to no one but the night, this is what the truth sounds like. And in that moment, every polished layer of my carefully built life suddenly felt like it was teetering on the edge of collapse. Long before I ever met Ryan, before the sparkling skyline became my nightly view, I was just a girl standing in a cramped kitchen in Dayton, Ohio, holding back tears while my father's voice cut through me sharper than any knife in the drawer. Natalie, you need to stop chasing dreams that don't pay the bills, he said, pushing a stack of college brochures back toward me. Art? Writing? Marketing? It's all nonsense. You're 21. Grow up. I remember gripping the edge of the counter, so hard my knuckles turned white. My mom stayed silent, staring at the floor like she wanted to disappear into the linoleum. My older brother, Matt, smirked from his spot at the table. He had just landed a stable job at the bank and suddenly thought he was the family oracle of success. Dad's right, he chimed in. You'll come crawling back when your little hobbies don't pay rent. The lump in my throat burned. My hands shook as I tried to steady my voice. It's not a hobby. I'm good at this. I know I can make something of myself. But my words only hung in the air, fragile, unwanted. That night, I packed a suitcase. Just one. Jeans, blouses, a pair of sneakers, and tucked at the bottom, the only thing that felt like armor, a tiny silver locket my grandmother had given me when I turned 18. On the back, in her scratchy handwriting, was a single word, believe. She had pressed it into my hand with her fragile fingers and whispered, Natalie, don't let anyone else tell you who you are. The world will try, but your voice, your dream, it matters. I held onto that locket now, fingers brushing over the engraved word, as if it could transfer her strength into me. When I walked out the door, dragging that suitcase down the cracked front steps, my father didn't even come outside to stop me. My mom's silhouette hovered behind the curtains, but didn't move. Matt didn't look up from his phone. The chill of the Ohio night seeped through my jacket, but I kept walking, breath trembling in the cold air. Every step away from that house felt like breaking through a chain I hadn't realized was wrapped around me. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't waiting for anyone's permission to decide my future. I was alone, but I was free. Starting over in a new city isn't glamorous, it's survival. I landed in Chicago with that single suitcase, $600 in my bank account, and the stubborn fire in my chest that wouldn't let me crawl back home. My first apartment was barely bigger than the dorm room I'd left behind, walls that rattled every time the train thundered past, a mattress on the floor, a second-hand lamp with a crooked shade. But it was mine. I waitressed at a diner for months, burning my feet through cheap flats, counting tips in crumpled dollar bills at 2 a.m. Some nights, I fell asleep still smelling like grease and coffee, my hair tied up in a messy bun that had stopped caring hours ago. But every spare second I wasn't at the diner, I was learning. I spent nights teaching myself marketing software on a cracked laptop. I watched free YouTube tutorials on branding. I read books borrowed from the library about building businesses from the ground up.
It was exhausting.
It was lonely, and still it was exhilarating. The turning point came when I met Margaret Whittaker. She was everything I wanted to be: sharp, respected, and unapologetically powerful. I met her at the diner of all places.
She was a
Regular, always ordering black coffee and oatmeal with fresh fruit. One night, after a long shift, she noticed me scribbling notes on the back of my order pad. "What are you working on?" she asked, her voice warm but curious. I nearly hid the pad out of embarrassment. "Just ideas. Marketing concepts. I want to start a business someday." She smiled like she recognized a younger version of herself. A week later, she brought me a used textbook on brand strategy and said, "Show me your best pitch when you're ready." That book became my Bible. Margaret became my mentor. She didn't hand me opportunities, I had to fight for them, but she taught me how to sharpen my instincts, how to command a room, how to take up space without apologizing. My first win came small. A local boutique owner hired me to rebrand her store. I worked through the night designing logos, sketching storefront displays, and reworking social media strategies. When sales doubled within 2 months, I knew this wasn't just a dream. It was a future. There were failures too, pitches that fell flat, clients who ghosted me, weeks where I stretched one paycheck into 2. I cried in bathrooms, fought waves of self-doubt, and ate reheated pasta more times than I could count. But every small victory was fuel. By the time I turned 26, I wasn't just surviving. I was running my own marketing firm out of a modest shared office. My client list grew: restaurants, boutiques, startups. Eventually, a major tech company took a chance on me, and everything shifted. But no one back home knew. Not my father. Not Matt. Not even Ryan, when I met him later. I posted the bare minimum on social media, just enough to look fine. I let everyone assume I was average, struggling, ordinary. Because I didn't need their validation anymore. My success was mine. Quiet.
Fierce.
Hidden like a treasure I wasn't ready to show. The next morning, I didn't bother pretending. I didn't return Ryan's texts. I didn't answer his call. Instead, I sat at my desk in my office, the real office, not the curated little version of myself I'd let him see. Floor-to-ceiling windows stretched across the 32nd floor, the Chicago skyline painted in silver morning light. Framed photographs of campaigns I'd built lined the walls: billboards, storefronts, smiling clients. On the shelves sat leather-bound journals, books on leadership, and that little silver locket from my grandmother, gleaming in its glass case like my private talisman. A Persian rug, an original oil painting, orchids in tall vases, details Ryan had never seen. He thought he was dating the sweet, simple Natalie, who worked in marketing. He had no idea. At exactly 10:04 a.m., he walked in. My assistant had let him through, confusion flashing across her face when I told her it was fine. Ryan looked out of place, rumpled button-down, eyes wide as they swept across my office. "Nat," he said, like he wasn't sure if he was standing in the right place. "Close the door," I replied. My voice was calm, steady, almost too steady. He obeyed, but his shoulders slumped, like he already knew he was about to face a version of me he hadn't prepared for. "This is your office?" he asked, his gaze darting between the view and the awards framed on the wall. "Yes." I leaned back in my leather chair, folding my hands. "This is my life. The part of me I never showed you. The part you probably wouldn't have respected." He blinked, stunned. I don't understand. "You run this." "I own it." The words cut clean through the air. He staggered a step back, like the ground beneath him tilted. "But you never said." "Because it wasn't your business to know. I didn't build this empire for anyone's approval, least of all yours." Silence stretched. He ran a hand through his hair, guilt spreading across his face like a shadow. "Nat, about that message," his voice cracked. "It was a mistake." I was confused. I raised a hand, stopping him mid-sentence. "Don't insult me with excuses." "I heard every word, Ryan. You told your sister you still love Claire. That's not confusion." That's confession.
His jaw tightened.
He tried to reach for my hand across the desk, but I pulled it back. For the first time, he saw the distance between us wasn't just physical, it was power. Do you know what it felt like? I said softly. To build all of this? Alone? To survive nights when I had nothing but cold pasta and a $20 bill to stretch across the week? To fight for respect in rooms full of people who didn't believe in me? My voice wavered only slightly, then grew sharper. I didn't claw my way here just to be someone's second choice. His eyes glistened, shame breaking his usual arrogance. I never meant to hurt you. I love you, Natalie. I do. Claire is just my past. You're my future. I stood then, circling the desk until I was standing right in front of him. For a moment, we were inches apart, the man who thought he knew me and the woman he'd never really seen. You loved your past more than you respected our future, I whispered. And that's not the kind of love I build my life on. He swallowed hard, words failing him. His gaze swept the office again, the proof of my strength, my independence, surrounding him like a truth he couldn't escape. And for the first time since I'd met Ryan, he looked small. Ryan's silence weighed heavy, like the pause before a storm. For years, I had thought of him as steady, dependable, the kind of man you could lean on when the world grew too sharp. But standing here now in my office, surrounded by the proof of everything I had built, I realized he had never truly seen me. Not the whole me. And he definitely didn't deserve to decide my worth. I crossed my arms, grounding myself in the leather chair once more. Here's how this goes, Ryan. If you want even the faintest chance of staying in my life, you're going to have to earn it. Not with flowers. Not with pretty words. But with truth. He shifted uncomfortably, hands in his pockets, like a boy scolded at school. I'm listening. First, I said, voice firm, you cut ties with Claire.
Completely.
No late-night messages. No nostalgic conversations about what could have been. If you still feel the need to hold on to her, then you don't belong here with me. He opened his mouth, but I didn't let him interrupt. Second, you need to look in the mirror and face why you thought it was okay to love one woman while promising a future to another. That's not romance, Ryan. That's cowardice. I won't carry the weight of your unfinished business. His Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed, guilt clear in the slump of his shoulders. And third, I continued, softer now but no less steady. If you want me, if you truly want us, you'll respect the life I built before you. No more underestimating me. No more assuming I'm just the girl waiting on your ring to feel complete. I was whole long before you, and I will remain whole without you. The words landed like stones dropped in water, rippling, undeniable. Ryan finally spoke, his voice hoarse. I don't deserve you. No, I admitted. Right now you don't. But people can change. The question is, will you? He dragged a hand across his face, exhaling hard. I'll do anything, Nat. I'll prove it. I don't want to lose you. I leaned forward, folding my hands on the desk. Then prove it. Not to me, at least not only to me, but to yourself. Show me you can be a man who doesn't cling to the past. Show me you can choose honesty over comfort, courage over cowardice. Show me you know what it means to love without conditions. He nodded quickly, desperately, but I didn't soften. These are my terms, Ryan. Not negotiations. Not requests. Conditions. Break them once, and I'm gone. No discussions. No second chances. The finality in my voice surprised even me. But it felt right. Solid. Like a door closing on the version of myself who used to accept crumbs and call it a feast. He lowered his gaze, shame painting every line of his face. I'll try, he whispered. I stood again, my grandmother's locket glinting in the glass case, just behind me. It was like her voice echoed through time. Don't let anyone else tell you who you are. And for once, I knew I never would. For weeks after that confrontation, the air between Ryan and me shifted. He didn't vanish overnight, but neither did the shadow of his confession. At first, I watched him closely. How he carried his phone, how he answered texts, how quickly he flinched whenever the name Claire slipped into conversation. But slowly, something unexpected happened. He changed. He deleted old messages. He stopped making excuses. He started therapy on his own, not because I demanded it. There were nights he came home raw, eyes red, confessing truths he had buried even from himself. For the first time, I saw the man beneath the polished exterior, stripped of ego. And yet, even as I watched him trying, something inside me had already shifted too. I realized that my life didn't hinge on whether Ryan stayed or left. My success, my peace, my worth, none of it came from a man's validation. It never had. The locket in my office reminded me of that every single day. When I visited my family months later, the look on my father's face when he walked into my penthouse was almost identical to Ryan's in my office that morning. Shock, disbelief, then silence. My brother, too, couldn't quite hide the shame that flickered across his face when he realized I had achieved everything he once mocked me for dreaming. But I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Their silence was enough. Instead, I offered them the same conditions I had given Ryan, different words, but the same truth: respect me or lose me. And maybe for the first time, they listened. Now, when I look out at the skyline at night, the glass towers glittering against the darkness, I don't see a battlefield. I see a reflection of the woman I've become, resilient, unshakable, whole. Ryan still stands beside me some nights, quieter, humbler, learning how to love without possession. Maybe we'll make it. Maybe we won't. But the difference is, I'll be fine either way. Because the truth is, betrayal didn't break me. It forged me. I touched my grandmother's locket one last time before sliding it around my neck. Her word was still there, etched into silver: believe. And I whispered into the night, my voice steady, strong. I used to think heartbreak would destroy me. Now I know it was just the fire that forged me.